Welcome back to From the Office. Before we begin today's discussion, I want to address a situation that has recently arisen regarding our channel's presence on social media platforms. We haven't previously discussed this publicly and feel it's important to clarify what is happening. Essentially, we are currently experiencing significant restrictions across several of our social media channels. This stems from the attention 2 or 3 videos, the exact number remains unclear, have drawn from a government agency. A journalist in Europe has even reported on the matter. The effect of this scrutiny has been a considerable reduction in our reach. These limitations impact all platforms we utilize, primarily YouTube and X. We received notification from X that our visibility was being curtailed under the guise of spam activity. This accusation is inaccurate. We have not engaged in any form of unsolicited messaging through their system. There were brief communications with 3 individuals, but they consisted solely of back-and-forth exchanges related to content announcements on our own timelines. The reasoning provided by X felt arbitrary and lacked substantive basis. Simultaneously, YouTube has also imposed restrictions. Within a matter of hours, viewership plummeted by over 90%. This occurred during a period when our channel had been experiencing rapid growth since its inception around mid-July. We had acquired a substantial portion of our subscribers within just a few days, and access rates were climbing steadily before this sudden drop. Initially, we struggled to understand the cause of this abrupt decline until a journalist indicated that our videos may have inadvertently provoked a government agency. Following this revelation, the notification from X arrived shortly thereafter, a sequence of events that appeared remarkably coincidental. Importantly, there is no legal basis for these restrictions. We've always adhered meticulously to copyright laws and have avoided utilizing any copyrighted material without proper authorization. Our focus has consistently been on creating original content, including graphics and sound design, a process which proves significantly more time-consuming than simply incorporating existing resources from other platforms. Many YouTubers utilize such external sources, sometimes comprising a considerable portion of their video length, particularly in reaction videos, a format we've consciously avoided. This commitment to originality is proving beneficial. It shields us from legal challenges, likely contributing to the continued existence of our channels as others facing similar accusations have been removed. We understand that suspicion has fallen upon certain content, specifically a Pentek video and a Tic Tac-related episode. Currently, our content isn't being widely distributed on social media. Only existing subscribers can readily access it, or those employing highly specific search queries to find particular titles. This underscores the importance of subscribing to our channel if you wish to continue engaging with our content. Despite these challenges, we maintain a sense of optimism. YouTube continues to run advertisements on our videos, suggesting an ongoing recognition of their popularity. We will observe how this situation develops and thank you for your continued support. Okay, let's move on to the results of the Mars remote viewing sessions, which was a high-priority request from our audience. In fact, at the very top of that list was remote viewing of Jesus. Now, I should mention that remote viewing of Jesus isn't always straightforward. There was a session on the Sean Ryan show where the viewers seemed hesitant and reluctant when asked about their experience exploring Jesus. They didn't respond to the request, and frankly, I found that odd. I understand why it might not have been discussed further given the religious sensibilities in the United States. Nonetheless, we did undertake a remote viewing session ourselves. We hadn't done so previously because we lacked a key element, something many of you who are new to this channel may not be aware of. My approach to remote viewing requires what I call a key. This key establishes a connection to both the specific time period and location you're aiming for. The location alone isn't sufficient. Otherwise, you might end up in that place in 1986 or 1704 instead of the desired time frame. We managed to conduct this viewing over 23 sessions. 23 sessions may not seem like many, but these were dissociative sessions. Each session involved periods where the viewer would completely disengage for 2 to 3 minutes, losing awareness due to the release of various bodily substances, including DMT. The results we obtained were quite remarkable, but we couldn't publish them in a video format because it likely would have been flagged and removed immediately. Therefore, we opted to publish them in a book, which presented its own challenges. When the issues arose with the federal authorities, the publisher actually delayed the book's release for 2 weeks, concerned that publishing material of this nature wasn't advisable at that time. However, the book is now available. It's titled Remote Viewing a Man Named Yeshua. The protocols and results are detailed within. It's important to note these are individual instances, not a continuous narrative. The protocols are presented in a novel style to make them more accessible and engaging for readers, rather than dry and technical. The most impressive aspect is that we were able to create a photorealistic image. Throughout the different sessions, I consistently perceived the same person, which could then be recreated using phantom drawings and artificial intelligence. We've generated a likeness that closely resembles what I observed during these viewings. In my opinion, this represents the first realistic depiction of a person named Yeshua who was later crucified. I don't want to definitively claim it is the person who profoundly influenced religious history. Ultimately, that interpretation remains with the reader for them to decide. Nevertheless, publishing this as a book proved necessary, and Mars was indeed at the top of our request list, which we've now addressed. The findings were quite interesting, unexpected even. I wouldn't have anticipated reaching these conclusions, because the central question revolved around whether life existed or had ever existed on Mars. McMoneagle previously conducted extensive remote viewings of Mars, mentioning pyramids and other structures. Here are some key takeaways from what we discovered. We'll be exploring evidence suggesting a civilization predating our own, existing on what appears to be a vastly different planet. The time frame in which these recollections place us is fascinatingly distant, somewhere between 80 and 90 million years ago. Estimates fluctuate. It could easily be closer to 100 or even 110 million years. It's important to understand that with remote viewing, the anchoring point often comes from what are referred to as memory holes. Determining the precise temporal location is inherently difficult, as these memories weren't recorded with a contemporary dating system in mind. So, we're working with an interpretive framework of roughly 80 to 90 million years ago, plus or minus. What began to surface was evidence of a humanoid civilization, beings that walked upright, possessing 2 legs, 2 arms, and hands featuring 3 fingers and a thumb. Their physiology presented some striking differences from our own. Imagine a creature with skin covered in what could be described as horn plates or scales, not quite reptilian but bearing a resemblance to a serpent or reptile. The atmosphere of this planet appears to have necessitated such adaptations. The environment lacked the protective qualities we experience on Earth today. Remote viewing revealed distinct regions exhibiting concentrated population centers, what we might term urban areas today. Dominating these areas was an undeniable architectural feature: pyramids. These weren't structures like those we recognize on Earth. They were predominantly constructed of white stone, considerably taller, some reaching heights exceeding 1/2 kilometer. Their shapes varied, both pointed and flattened, consistently rendered in brilliant white. Some rose dramatically from forested regions, while others existed within arid landscapes. The climate itself presented significant challenges. In the forested areas, humidity was exceptionally high, with daytime temperatures frequently peaking around 45 degrees Celsius, 113 Fahrenheit, accompanied by near-constant humidity above 80%, a truly tropical environment. Nighttime brought a stark contrast, plummeting temperatures down to -10 or even 12 degrees Celsius, 14 to 22 Fahrenheit. The prevailing theory suggests the pyramids served a vital practical purpose, mitigating these extreme temperature fluctuations. Their pyramidal shape, with a broad base and apex, offered inherent stability in an environment prone to geological shifts caused by the daily temperature swings. The white coloration also reflected solar radiation, minimizing heat absorption. It seems this system functioned effectively for a considerable period of time. These non-human intelligences experienced significant development over extended periods. Their story intersects with a pivotal event in our own planet's history, the meteor impact roughly 65 million years ago. Following this cataclysmic event, these beings migrated to Earth. What's particularly intriguing is whether they initially inhabited Earth and then moved on to Mars, or if their connection to Mars predates their presence here at all, a question that continues to prompt further investigation. Continuing our exploration of remote viewing data, we're now addressing some particularly compelling and complex questions regarding the origins of life as we know it. We've already established a time frame around 80 to 90 million years ago, alongside the cataclysmic event that dramatically altered conditions on Earth and progressively worsened the environment on Mars. Subsequent to this planetary shift, these non-human intelligences, NHIs, relocated to Earth. Here, it's theorized they attempted adaptation through genetic engineering, aligning their physiology with terrestrial life patterns. This is where interpretation becomes crucial. While not a direct result of the remote viewing itself, I propose that this process may represent the genesis of humanity. It's a profound possibility. We might be descendants of an engineered lineage, effectively making us integral to the NHI development. In essence, we are the extraterrestrials, born from their evolutionary trajectory. This notion gains further resonance when examining folklore across diverse cultures, South America, Asia, and the Middle East, where strikingly consistent narratives emerge. A recurring motif involves a serpentine or reptilian being venerated as a primordial mother figure. These legends often portray this entity with a capacity for both creation and destruction, capable of lethal force and union with human women. The uniformity across such geographically disparate traditions is remarkable, hinting at a potential transmission of shared knowledge or memory. It's a fascinating proposition that these narratives may reflect an accurate recounting of events. We know that life flourished on Mars. It was extensively populated. However, the planet experienced significant physical weathering, exacerbated by extreme temperature fluctuations and atmospheric loss, likely due to its relatively weak gravitational pull. Consequently, these beings returned from Mars to Earth. As previously mentioned, we can't definitively ascertain whether they originated on Earth, then migrated to Mars, and subsequently returned, or if their presence on Mars preceded their arrival here at all. Regardless, it's plausible that they have inhabited Earth ever since, undergoing considerable technological advancement. I trust these insights will offer a new perspective for some listeners. I look forward to our next encounter. Thank you for joining us. Until then, may peace be with you.